Hi everyone, this is the 2020 KTM 390 Adventure, so it's kind of the baby adventure bike of their range, and yeah, just out having a little play on it. It's a fun little toy. First impressions have been really good. Yeah, so it's quite a revvy little thing, very easy to ride, quite flickable. You've got the ability, which is good, to turn off, traction control, turn off ABS, so it is then a true adventure bike. You can ride on the gravel, lock up the rear, spin it up if you want to get out of something. Yeah, no, it's got a little bit of pull, like more than enough for what you need doing this sort of fire trail, dirt track riding.
So bitumen wise, it's really neutral handling. There's no surprises. It just, you lean it in once, get your line, it holds it. Tyres probably help being on a predominantly road tyre, but yeah, and you've got to work it, but you keep it in that 4,000 to 8,000 rev range, and it gets along. It's okay.
So in Australia, it is the absolute entry level. Comes in on the road right away. I think it's just under $9,000. So what do you actually get for your $9,000? Things like digital dashes, you just weren't going to see them on entry level bikes even 2 or 3 years ago. So that's pretty nice. Pretty standard KTM switchgear. All fairly basic setup. It's got the WP. See it down here, WP Apex forks on it, which is pretty nice on a little 390 like this. Let's have a look. So it's that pretty standard KTM look that they've gone for. So now the nice thing about this bike is it can be ridden by anyone, even on a restricted license. So it's the perfect bike for someone who's just getting into the market and says, I want a bike that will do a bit of everything, that I can cruise on, that maybe I can commute to work on, and I can go out on the weekend and get down some fire roads and some dirt tracks and have a bit of adventure. So it's really kind of nice for that. The one shortcoming, I think, of this bike, if you wanted to play really hard off-road, is the fact that it's running alloy rims. And I think that is the limit, that you could do a lot of stuff, but when you get into gnarly single tracks, I don't know how comfortable I'd be really hammering those, jumping them, hitting a lot of rock crossings and stuff with them, whether they're going to hold up. I just don't know. I'm so used to spokes, and I've got the feeling that this bike lends itself perfectly, that you might see at ICMA this year or somewhere into 2021 that KTM are announcing that they're doing an R version, and all of a sudden it's got maybe a little bit more suspension travel. Not that it's bad on this, it's about 170 mil, so it's pretty decent. But I could see them doing one that's got spoked rims, and a little bit more suspension travel, and call it the R, and then that would be a really true fun, off-road. But look, if you're not going to tackle the really nasty stuff, then this bike is going to do everything you want. You can bomb along highway speeds, you can cruise to work, it's good in traffic, you're sitting up nice and high, seating position's really comfy, ergonomics are good. I'd have to raise the bars if I was riding off-road a lot to stand up, but that's pretty standard. Every adventure bike I think I've ever bought have had to do that. Yeah, so look, all round, you think you're on the road riding away for under $9,000 in Australia. It's a heck of a lot of bike for that money. Good componentry. Yeah, when you sum up the 390, it's a great bike for someone who wants one bike that does everything. A bit of dirt riding, commuting, just general riding around. It's a fun bike to ride, feels light, it handles nicely, it's well finished. And when you look at, I suppose, the next step up, if you want an adventure bike, you're getting into KTM 790 or the new T7 Yamaha, you're looking at pretty close to double the price, or close, certainly in the KTM case. So it's a huge step up, and you're still going to have a heck of a lot of fun on one of these bikes. So yeah, well worth a test ride, and considering you're not going to get overwhelmed, that's for sure, by the power, but gee, it's a fun little ride.
And just a big thanks to the guys at Savage Motorcycles in Midland for the chance to get out on the bike, and yeah, I hope that was helpful. Thanks for tuning in.